Hello, today I will present you with the stats, some opinions, and some classes for the S-Tac Aggressor, which is definitely reminiscent of the CheyTac intervention. Many people are saying, no, it's the MSR, aka the Remington MSR in Modern Warfare 3. Yeah, it looks very similar to, especially if you look at a side view, but I do feel like with the name and the fact that they put that very similarly designed bipod on there, they're trying to remind people of using the Modern Warfare 2 intervention, and you can look at some comparisons there, but who cares what you want to call it. I have passed 500 kills with it. That's not supposed to be impressive, but I want you to know not just some dummy reading the stats off the page. I do have some actual experience to speak from. Also, I was using this weapon to get the 5 collaterals needed for the beach bog camos, and that happened really easily, surprisingly, and I thought that would take the longest, but no, my last summer camo challenge will definitely be the one about picking up enemy weapons, because I'm working on the camos for these new guns. I did say I might cover some of these new weapon stats if they're interesting, and there is actually quite a bit going on. Once again, these 3 new ones are all interesting weapons in their own ways. Let's talk Aggressor. The big thing about it you've probably heard is that it has the same ACOG damage increasing mechanic as the M40. Not only is it in Good Guy Marvel 4's stat charts, which I of course use and will link in the description, it was also confirmed in a tweet by the Hodgemeister. If you're unfamiliar, that will bring the base damage of the weapon from 70 to 75, which is a big deal for the calculations with stopping power. 70 times the 1.4 from stopping power is only 98 damage and needs the extra push from one of the body multipliers like 1.5 or 1.1 will work too if they don't have Juggernaut to cancel out your stopping power, but 75 base damage times 1.4 will obviously be over 100 and will kill anywhere on the body all of the time, even the limbs that have no multiplier, unless they have Juggernaut, in which case if the ACOG doesn't change your one-shot kills, you're back to needing one of the 1.5 times body multipliers to get a one-shot kill. But that makes this another sniper in the game that is very good to run around with. Put the ACOG on there and have some fun. Something common to all the sniper rifles, the ACOG does decrease the aim down sight time from 0.4 seconds to 0.3, which is actually quite noticeable. Maybe it's something about the animation of this weapon, but I found it more noticeable than for the other snipers. Don't be fooled though, it is the same increase. Now we're clearly comparing this new rifle to the M40. That's its main competition. It's kind of like this is a variant of that gun. Sorry for using the word variant, that might be upsetting. But what makes this gun better or worse? If you've been able to unlock this one, should you replace your M40 class? Well, as you'd expect, they didn't want to make that a clear-cut choice. It can certainly come down to a personal preference thing, but I'll tell you all the key differences. The big one being, the S-Tac has an extra 1.5 times body multiplier on the upper torso, just like the Barrett or R700, where the M40 has a 1.1 there. I'll bring up these fine folks to demonstrate. Now remember that if both rifles have stopping power, even without ACOG, they both kill in one-shot kill to the entire torso anyway. That 1.1 multiplier is enough to push the 98 damage over the edge. And if they both have ACOG, they both kill everywhere like arms and legs. The only time this 1.5 multiplier matters is when the person you're shooting has Juggernaut, or in the case where you're not running stopping power and your target doesn't have Juggernaut. If that's the case, the M40 will give you a hit marker in the upper torso, while the Aggressor will be a one-shot kill like the other strong rifles. Juggernaut isn't as common in MWR it feels like though, so how big of a deal is this? It's pretty big. It's nice to have that multiplier there. It can also always be helping with wall penetration shots too, you can keep that in mind. I usually always talk about 100 damage as being the end-all be-all, that's a one-shot kill, who cares how much damage above 100 you're doing, but what about the damage reduction through surfaces? So the Aggressor has a big leg up there too. The upper torso is a significant region. To balance that though, there are the downsides you'd expect to come with more power, like first of all the slower fire rate, pretty standard balancing there, 57 RPM, not 65 RPM like the M40. That may sound like a small number change, but think of it percentage-wise, the M40 is 12-ish% faster. You should be able to notice that you can get more shots off in a row with the M40. There's also quite a bit of view kick on the Aggressor, and the center speed isn't quite as good. And finally, there's the matter of the magazine. You have 7 rounds with the Aggressor, not 5 like the M40, but you can't reload one at a time, which can be faster if you like managing that. On the Aggressor, you have to switch out the entire magazine for every reload. There are pros and cons in there too. So you should have a good idea of the balance of these two weapons. I think they are balanced. You might see that extra 1.5 multiplier and be like, oh my god, they made a better M40. It's over. It's overpowered as hell. I'm going to be getting quick scoped by this thing in every lobby. This is stupid. But when you take into account the lower fire rate, mainly, and the other things like recoil can be annoying, but the fire rate alone means the M40 should still be the go-to choice for all your fancy quick sniper feeds and montages, because that extra bit of damage will only sometimes help save you against a Juggernaut user, or help you do a bit more damage through a wall. Then again, maybe for those feeds you need the extra ammo to kill 7 people before needing to reload, or maybe more with some crispy collaterals. That can be very convenient. It's a good weapon, it is fun, it feels good to use, it's fresh, but it will not break the game. There's your rundown on the weapon stats with my thoughts on the weapon mixed in and how it fits into the game. Let's take a look at a couple class setups, nothing revolutionary, the same kind of thing you would use for an M40. You can do the scout sniper kind of thing, running around quick scoping everyone, take advantage of that ACOG damage. I find the default reticle on the Aggressor ACOG is really faint and hard to use. That might partially be how bright Beach Bog is, but I compared it to other snipers and it definitely is smaller than average. I much prefer a custom reticle to track your targets. Of course you'll want stopping power, but the rest of the class is up to you. I'm sure you know what you like. If you have it, you could try out the proc a lot. It was just buffed to have a smaller delay in between the burst. It is quite usable now, not bad at all. If you don't have it, don't feel bad. It isn't anything crazy. The deagle is still incredible. Moving on, you can also do the classic grandpa sniping. I'm quite a fan of the default scope on the Aggressor. I think reticles make it worse by removing the big crosshair. Just swapped out the steady aim for deep impact. Makes sense for the change of playstyle. Same with frag times 3. Frags make sense when you aren't trying to stay alive super long, just rack up a bunch of quick kills and eventually die. Claymores can be useful for full sniper camping mode, or bandolier can be useful for building up a big kill streak when you don't want to be running out of ammo or scavenging for weapons. I don't need to tell you what the perks do though. Finally, you can use this class to pretend that you're playing Modern Warfare 2. No, I wouldn't recommend using that class. You should now know everything you need to know about this new sniper. Fun, but doesn't really change the metagame, and that's the way these add-on weapons should be. I can't say that for all the guns in this update, but we'll get to those. If this format works, I can do the same for the other two. It does feel good to make a pretty concise video without having to go over every little boring detail about all 3 weapons at once. I originally thought I would wait a while to be done with all the weapons and then do them all at once in one video, but in some of the suggestions it seemed like people would prefer them being split up videos, which I guess makes sense to consume them that way, and I can focus on one weapon at a time, which is good. Here I was thinking splitting them up would just be an annoying and unnecessary way to spread out content, but maybe that's a good thing. I just don't want to be a scumbag, man. Like, there's so much more garbage, vacuous content on this site every single day. Hopefully you actually learned something from this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.